different security agencies on ground at the moment. So what they're all looking to do now, perhaps, of course, is to quell this matter. The President, in his Independence Day speech, says he's put together a robust security strategy to combat this. What exactly, specifically, should we be doing now to solve this problem?
You see, I thank God that Nigeria at this critical time have a president like Goodluck Jonathan, who is patient, who is ready to cooperate, who is ready to go any length to get peace. A lot of people may be angry that it's too slow, it's not decisive, it's not taking actions, but I think the man knows where he's going, and to an extent, if the discussions that are going on are well handled, and like I said, the leadership, the northern leadership, if they are sincere in the negotiations that are going on, they can be able to arrest the situation.
What about institutions? Institutions. Because the President also said he likes institutions to work and not just individuals. That's what we should be looking to build.
Yes, of course. Of course, there must be synergy. One of the problems we had in the past was that there was no synergy within the security system. All right? They were holding information from themselves. And that is why they can get information that this will happen and they cannot be proactive. But whatever it is, if we don't have that peaceful process that is following, and we want to go head-on, there is likelihood that the infiltrators in the system will still sabotage it. And I do know from my experience, for this process to come this far, for the kind of information they are getting and the way they are reacting, there are insiders in the system that are playing out.
Give us a scenario. If you were to advise or come up with a strategy to cope with a cell, if they're operating in a cell, how would you identify and nip it in the bud?
Well, you see, first of all, like you said, the cell mating is a very good clue. And if I am in charge, I would use different approach to handle these issues. First, the cell mating is one good aspect, whereby security agencies can be planted in the cell, and they are being indoctrinated, they have all the things.
But you have to identify the cell first.
Yes, no, you put them first, and when you got suspect, you throw them there, and you know the cell issue of the boss, the man who is the owner of the cell. Any cell you go into, that is a man, they call him the head of the cell, who will be beating you, harassing you, and so on. And when they finish that preliminary harassment, the whole discussion is Boko Haram. Their plans, how they want to go about.
I'm talking about a terrorist cell.
You see, a cell, what do you mean? For you to move into the cell mating, there are different ways of cell mating. They can even release somebody from the prison and send them out to certain places where it will interact and be part of the system. There are certain persons you will arrest and put them into a closed cell, and they will be able to confess within their meeting. If you look at certain things, there are things they do. You bring a lot of people together.
You know, that's why, let me bust in here. That's why I wanted to find out if you actually went to Maiduguri or if you've been working on this Boko Haram, because it's a new kind of terror in our midst. Because if you've been following it, you should know that there's been efforts by some security operatives to really do all of that. But again, Boko Haram is quite different from every other terror group you talk about. The moment they know that you are out for a moment, out of their mates, when they get to see you, they kill you. I mean, take for instance, the man who, even not a member of Boko Haram sect, for the fact that he spoke with the president, he was killed. So now you bring all of this. So that is why we're trying to see how.
Let me tell you, these things are not new.
We're trying to see the way you've been able to analyze and trace the history of Boko Haram, that we as Nigerians can really decipher and forge ahead. Because as it is now, no clear-cut solution to all of that from your end.
There are clear-cut solutions. Boko Haram declared on the 12th of August 2009 that they are part of the Al-Qaeda, and they will do whatever Osama bin Laden asks them to do. They will also threaten there will be a lot of bombings in this country, and they made certain demands. On the 12th of August, by Sani Umaru, who was the acting head of Boko Haram. From that moment, of that statement was widely published. The moment that statement came up, what security agency would have done was to look for him. This I know they know how to do best. The SSS particularly. They will go as far as different disguise, fund him, put people to be with him. What is important in information is to know the next action. The moment you have one of them, you can go on torture, or you can go on cell meeting where somebody will give him even more information and he will open up. And what I'm trying to get is to go for the next target so that you preempt the next target. There are different processes you will do. 2009, they have not started. If we are really working as a counter-terrorist agency, it would have planted a lot of people around. Two, these are Hausa Fulani people. We have different methods like what do you call these people who sell drinks? Okay. All those drinks, cigarettes, and so on.
Bring in the police, Nigeria police, because in 2009, in July 2009, it was a major turning point. We saw a different chapter to the approach of the Boko Haram sect. What specifically should the police be doing? Because they've got numbers, no matter how they may be criticized in terms of not policing adequately. What should their role be, or what do you expect their role to be with this president's new security approach, the robust strategy that he's putting in place?
Well, in every terrorist, counter-terrorist mission, the role of the police is what we call the perimeter fencing. They don't go beyond perimeter fencing. All right? We have a special team that goes for operations and investigations. And then, like I said, most of the activities of counterterrorism is done in a room like this, in a big house like this, where a lot of tables are put in place and focus is made. For instance, Nigeria as a country ought to have a satellite mapping by now. If we don't have it, we go to Google. They should have put Medjugorje or the whole of that area under surveillance. It will be beamed. If they are doing satellite mapping, as we are here, the satellite will tell us how we sit here. They will identify us and say this is what they are doing.
We don't assume they will tell us if and how they're doing it.
It depends on the contract.
It's a security strategy.
On contract. You see, what you are looking at, we have so many measures. Unfortunately, we don't have data to identify certain persons. But even then, it does a lot of intelligent work. We have the telephone hacking,
which they say they will begin to. This is government's approach now.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, you need to know who goes out and who comes in. And when certain persons you suspect goes out, who are they meeting outside?
So this is a good strategy. Interact? This is a good strategy.
I'm telling you, I've not read this, but I'm telling you what they should do. They must also know, monitor the funding, the banks. Which fund moves to one account that has been idle and how is it coming? The moment a non-terrorist group moves a fund to a particular account, that account will be monitored. Critically, you must monitor the account. Then they also need to look at the manifest of the plane. Before the plane comes in, the manifest is there. You must know who is coming to your country, all foreigners, and put them on the checklist.
My question is, in all these things, monitoring, getting information, knowing, are you also considering the personnel, the number of the personnel, one, and the kind of training they have, or the kind of training they should be receiving for that?
A good counter-terrorist unit don't need more than 200 to 300 persons.
Do you the entire nation? Are you saying that the entire nation?
Yes,
the entire Nigeria needs just 200, 300 persons.
Look, monitoring. When you talk about monitoring and policing, you don't need more than 200 persons. They are not working physically.
Are you going to
separate them? They are
them?
using the system.
Are you going to separate them from the current number of personnel that they are in the security agencies?
You have to create a new body for them. They are independent. You see, I told you from the beginning, I said, the man reports directly to the president. The president sees him first and sees him last. For the president to speak on any issue, he must confer with him. Because even within the presidency, there could be terrorists. Maybe some persons are not happy with a particular policy of the government, and they have made their presentation, and their government is not doing their presentation. They could fund. There are sometimes security budget may not be enough, and the security can also create artificial crisis.
Okay,
so this is one of the things. But you have a unit, dedicated unit. You don't need more than 200%.
We're out of time completely, really, but just do this in 1 minute if you can. The citizens, what role do we all play here?
If we are talking about other security crimes, yes, citizens have to play a role. All we can do one now is prayer and to ask our president to do the right thing.
Only prayer?
Of course, because you don't know. If terrorists are like us...
What if I don't believe in prayers?
Well, they can't do more than that, because terrorists can be your own brother, can be your own son. I have seen a case, I've taken a case study of a family. The father is a terrorist. The second daughter is a terrorist. Her husband is a terrorist. Then the first daughter is not aware.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, when she discovered that somebody hinted her, and she tried to open up, she lost her life. And all of them were involved. You need to know how terrorists work. And I want to, last thing, terrorists all over the world. The difference you can see in them is 5 minutes to the operation, and 1 hour after the operation. If the operation is successful, they jubilate. That is the only time they are different human beings.